Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Learning Sound and Synthesis Spotlight Series interview. I'm here today with the wonderful Anja from my class, and we're going to be talking about your creative practice. And in particular, I think we're going to be getting into how you're working with deep listening,
Mhm.
with experimental sound design, modular synths to expand your creative practice. And what's really interesting about this conversation, these conversations are always interesting, but what I'm really excited about to get into with you, Anya, is how you're combining all of this in with your video art and your visual art that you're doing as well, because you have quite an extensive background in visual video work. So,
Mhm.
welcome. Thank you for being here. Hello to everyone who's tuning in live. It's great to see you here. Go ahead and say hello if you're watching live. So, let's start off with a little intro. Can you expand on what I just said a little bit about who you are and what you do? Maybe what kind of work you're enjoying creating these days?
Yeah, my name is Anja Kreysing. I'm from Germany, Northwest Germany exactly, and I'm a sound and video artist. I come from fine art studies, from experimental film and experimental video art, and
Yeah.
it does sound art from installation to live. And I brought these long time ago together with the idea of the live soundtrack that everything I see, I can imagine as a film or a filmic, a cinematic process. And I'm accompanying this like old silent movies or a performance or a photograph or something. So everything I can see with my eyes, I can accompany with mostly accordion and electronics. Yeah, that's my
Accordion, that's right. So
yeah.
interesting. So I'm really curious, and it's okay if there's no one answer. Maybe your answer is all of the above, but do you usually start with image and then create sound, or does it go both ways?
Mostly I start with sound because
You start with sound.
most things I do are sound works. Yes, and the video thing is a bit more on site, but I frequently produce new videos. I do a lot of sound work and accompanying and compositions for other artists or
Ah,
film or
okay.
whatever. But these experimental videos are a bit private thing for me. It's just it's never ordered. It's just I do this. So
Yeah,
as somebody goes in a studio and paints, yeah, so
yeah.
like that.
It's a
These
personal practice. That's great.
It's very personal, yeah. Hmm.
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. So it's good to see everyone. Hello to everyone who's saying hi. There's some folks saying hi, Anya. Hello. So let's talk a little bit about your journey, maybe getting into the world of synthesis and modular synths. Can you tell me a bit about how that started and
Yeah.
why you were interested in that?
It started in the early 90s when I was at art school, and there was a sound art seminar from Christina Kubisch, this German sound artist.
Mm.
And I attended, and I was every time, all my youth, I draw and did something visual, and I did music. I played pipe organ and classical guitar. And but I decided to go this art school way. And then she came in, and this was the link, and it was, I can put all these images in my head and all the sounds in my head, I can put them together and call it sound art. And so I'm there where I ever dreamed of, and it was really great.
I love that.
So fantastic. And then I discovered in the what do you say, the studio, the film studio, there was a little sound studio beneath with an old Atari and Cubase,
Ah,
cracked Cubase with a little B, and a Casio FZ1 sampling keyboard, a big one.
yeah.
And this was great. And I started to make kind of tape compositions with that, and made loops by taping down keys and stuff like that. And
I
then
love that.
Yeah, I did sound installation with these tape compositions a lot, multi-channel up to 24 channels or what. So I soldered amplifiers by myself, and it was really a nerdy time. And then there was this, I want to go back live on a stage, but not as a musician, more as a fine artist. And then I took my accordion and I experimented what to do with this. And I took from first point microphones and effects and stuff like that. We had old delays in the sound studio there. And I took it and experimented how to go, how to practice with the accordion in performative. And because I was in the experimental film department, how can I arrange all this cinematic in a cinematic way, in a way of storytelling, in a way of associations and synesthesia and all these stuff, the inner film, the inner what goes
Yes.
in everybody's mind. Yeah, and this was my main interest, and it's still my main interest, this abstract storytelling, storytelling, triggering, synesthesia, inner film, inner dialogue, inner monologue, this thing. And I express it mostly by sound.
Yeah. And I love, it feels like a natural progression to, work with something like synthesizers and modular synths because they're so flexible, right? They can do anything. They can be quote unquote musical in a traditional way, and they can also be very abstract and textural and bizarre. And I think that that's so that tug of war you can play, between traditional and that's great.
Yeah, that's great. Because this semi-modular thing I discovered in the 90s with the Novation Nova. And I had several synths by myself, Nord Lead and what I bought with first art prizes. So, and there was in the Novation Nova this little semi-modular matrix. And I'm still very interested. And then the times came up, I was with the first computers which could do that in the later 90s with the early granular apps like Thonk and MacPot. These were my all-time faves. And I discovered over the years this is going hardware. And first these granular delay for electric guitars, and then Tasty Chips Gear 1, these synth and the torso now. And so I'm now into hardware, and I discovered that modular can do a lot, the make noise tower with granular synthesis too. And so I decided I have to go deep into the real modular thing. And at the moment, I'm exploring in VCV Rack because I don't want to decide now what to buy. Just I can do everything there, and that's great. And I'm exploring.
Yeah. Good. So is that what brought you into my class, into learning sound and synthesis, was this desire to go just deep into the modular synth world? Yeah, exactly.
Yes, deep in the and in the granular aspects. This was the main focus. And the other thing, I love to work with sine waves too, with different waves, and how to form and modulate a bit. I'm a big fan of sine waves and how to mix more frequencies in to shape it a bit. It's perhaps because of my pipe organ youth. These very simple pipes have this very sine wave too. And so work with that was a second interest, beside the granular thing.
I just want to say, and I think this could be a good moment after I say this to listen to a little clip of your music and to see a little clip, if you're okay with that. But what I want to say first, it's a little side note for anyone who's watching. What I love about you, Anja, is that you are just like pulling in so many different aspects of your creativity to make your unique practice. Like you're pulling in video art and sound and music and installations and probably things we haven't, accordion and pipe organ, all these things. And I just think that that's so inspiring. And it's a good reminder to all of us that it's okay. And in fact, it's awesome to have a multitude of interests. And the more that we can pull in all of these aspects of ourselves, the better. I know that a lot of my students sometimes are concerned, like, am I too spread thin? You know, is it going to be confusing for my audience if I make, you know, dance music and I also play the fiddle and I also want to make soundscapes? The answer is no, do it all. Like the world needs dance music that includes a fiddle. We want that. So I just want to kind of acknowledge you for that. And there are people in the chat who are also agreeing that resonates. So that's wonderful. Let's listen to a little clip of your music if you want. Okay, I'll pull this up. Hopefully this will work seamlessly, but let's find out. I'm going to push play here. This is so beautiful, Anja. Thank you so much for sharing. It's so beautiful. I know that the audience is going to want to know a little bit about the piece. Can you tell us just a bit about what we just saw and heard?
Yeah, from the visual side, it's the images from my garden, video image. I videographed a bit around outside, and then I put them in through different filters and video filters so that it went very abstract. This was my intention. And I put it in Procreate Dreams on the iPad, and I was really with a pen, with the Apple pen, I just draw into the structures of the video. And sometimes I went with the video, and sometimes I let it a bit, so that these layers are, sometimes they are congruent and sometimes going a bit on their own way. This was a visual side, and I just want to have kind of trip, like the cinematic
I
approach.
loved the hand-drawn elements. I thought that made it so special. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. So to make kind of trip, and the sound is my accordion, heavily processed, the tones partly stretched, partly natural, partly pitched down, granularized, and did everything. And in the background is a granular atmosphere, and these very high frequencies. This was sound from a recording for a performance I did with old dishes. Yes. Yeah, I made a performance in a house where it was old dish, and I did with these dishes. I improvised with this, and
Are you saying dishes? Like
dish, like
dishes?
plates,
Like what you eat off of? Okay.
dish, just plates, glasses, cups, bowls, and spoons, forks.
Okay.
Knife.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Love it. The
Yeah.
kitchen. Yeah.
Yeah, it was in an old kitchen, in a former kitchen, unused old dish. And yes, I made a bit sound performance, and I granularized this afterwards. And so I made the background with this because of this started with the birds from my garden. It was a little bird in the beginning, and with a high voice. So, and this granular. This dish performance was so high pitched, so I decided this deep low accordion and the high end with the dish and the bird. This gives for me nice spectrum. This was my intention.
It was beautiful. And I just, again, I think it speaks so well to what we were saying earlier about combining all of these elements. Like you're working with traditional instruments, you're working with literal the kitchen sink, you're working with dishes, you're just, anything can be a creative tool. And I think that that's such an inspiring way to think about things. Okay, so I would love to talk a little bit about your experience getting deeper into the world of synthesis. I know that a lot of people listening are probably in this community because learning about modular synths, learning about sound design is something they're interested in. So as part of this interview series, I always like to ask people, as you were taking my class and learning, what was the most helpful thing for you? Like, what did you do that, just really helped you get to where you are today? I'm interested in like demystifying that process for people as much as possible. Does that make sense?
Yes, of course. Yeah, for me, I was no novice with synthesis and different synthesis forms, but your material is very good for persons who never heard about, to get an image and do the first exercises. But it's also completely great for me as a more experienced person, which can learn every day. I mean, my whole artistic life is about expanding and exploring. And if you get very deep into it, what you say in the videos, then there are so many side informations. That's fantastic. That's great. And I appreciate this really. And that's no joke. It's absolutely honest. These in one video, in one course, from absolutely starter to experienced person, everybody can take out. And I'm enjoying very much all the collection about historical material, about the history, about different forms of synthesis, how to use, how to combine, the whole LFO thing took me weeks. And this whole little book, I write down everything.
Okay, wait.
Weeks to go that. Even it was not really new, but it was so in depth that I really felt the urgency just to sit down write and try, go to my gear, go to VCV Rack, but also to my semi-modular synthesizers I have, to try all the things with that, with the Arturia, the Micro Freak, or I have this
Right.
noise easel. That's fantastic. Yeah.
So I think you've hit on something that's really important for anyone. Thank you for sharing. For anyone who is learning this, one of the most important things that I emphasize a lot in my class, and it sounds like you are doing, is to make sure you're taking time to play, right? You learn the technique, you study, you learn the concepts, you learn about LFOs, you learn about envelopes. That's important. That's part of it. But then what you do with that is where it's really going to start to click and make sense to you as an artist. So go play with VCV Rack, play with your semi-modular synths, try it out. Even if all you know is the basics of how an oscillator works, you can still make music with just oscillators and
Yeah.
nothing else, right?
Yeah.
So I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's very important. And I think that's a great thing. Beside the technical stuff, you give a lot of information about composition, strategies to perform. I'm a deep listening practitioner, and I'm into composing with electronics and all the stuff. But every session gives me so much new impulses to think about what I'm doing since 33 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so that's fantastic, and it's great to have this community in the forum with absolutely beginners and classical musicians, and this mixture of people is so much inspiring. I appreciate this really. It's not this closed shop where everybody talks the same. It's very manifold and very highly interesting. I love this really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you hit on another big thing that I always say, sometimes people ask me, "Hey, like is your course, will you teach me, techno, or will you teach me experimental music?" Or they'll say like, "Sarah, I don't really like noise music, but I want to learn how to play melodic music." And it's like, great. The way that I'm interested in helping people be themselves. That's my whole approach. I'll teach you the techniques, the tools, the concepts, all of these ideas so that you can make the kind of music that you want to make. I'm not interested in creating copies of myself. I want to help you
Yeah.
be you. That's better, way better. So can you show us your notebooks? Because you showed one notebook, but I want you to show. So you have a special way of kind of organizing
Yeah.
your learning, and I think this is really cool for people to see.
I started with a very great workbooks from you, but I had not enough space to write down all my thoughts in those. And I think I will take later, I go to them back later.
Yeah.
And so I bought notebooks in the next drugstore around my corner. Yes, I love them, even the colors. So first before sound and synthesis started, I was in creating with Courage. And that was great. You little 1 week empowering. And I cured some art school traumata from bossy, patriarchal, horrible art school down back then in Germany of the 90s. And this my creating with Courage. Here's all mindset techniques for artist work. I write them down here. After creating this Courage, I fill the pages with every new impulse. This is basic thing, module 1 to 5 of learning sound and synthesis. All the notes are what I didn't know yet about perhaps those LFOs, attenuators, and stuff like that. What's new? Which module in VCV Rack can give me what option? Here is technic stuff in about modules, about broader contexts. Here is mixing, mastering stuff. I know a lot, but this approach, how to do it with electronic experimental music, I can learn a lot. I do actually learn a lot from now. And this is my special fav about composing and artistic approaches. So for me, this whole thing is a kind of postgraduate studies
I
to
love it.
all the thing I do since ages to bring them on a newer level and to meet some new impulses. I teach a lot too, and so I get a great input for my teachings, to have new approaches, and that's great. Yeah, that's completely fine, and yeah.
I think it's wonderful. I love seeing how organized you are. I love the idea of a notebook per topic. I've actually never thought of that before, but it's so clever. It's a simple thing that I think is just really wonderful. And I also really want to just acknowledge you again for the way that you are adopting this beginner's mindset. You have so many years of experience, and you came into this class with a lot of prior experience and a lot of training. And I just think it's wonderful that you're like, you know what? I'm here to grow and continue to learn every single day. That's the attitude to have. I mean, if you're constantly looking for something new and ready to grow, like your creative life will be beautiful because you'll constantly be expanding. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, this is really the core. What Viv Corringham, this fantastic vocalist from Great Britain and USA, she said to me, she's a deep listening practitioner too, and was befriended with Pauline Oliveros. And Viv said to me just, it's all about expand everything while performing, while doing, while learning new things, while living. And yeah, that is all about expanding. It's my approach too, and this beginner's mind to start every day new with there is something new. I don't want to start the day with the mindset, here comes the expert. Little students, I'm the expert. That's horrible for me. If anybody wants this, he can do, but I don't want this. I want to have a fresh day every morning with a fresh coffee and a fresh beginner's mindset. And yeah, that's great. Yeah.
It's all about expanding. I think that's so good. Coupling that with this idea from earlier on about bringing all of yourself into your creative work, all of your diverse interests, like let them all coexist and let it grow. I think that's just such a beautiful kind of theme for this interview. Let me know if you're watching in the chat, if this is resonating with you. Let me know. It's nice to have the input. Yes, I'm seeing some people. Great. Really quickly, I'm just going to go ahead and put this up on the screen, soundandsynthesis.com/waitlist. The next round of my class, Learning Sound and Synthesis, is opening in late February, which is very exciting. We've just officially announced the next cohort. So if you're curious to join this community, if you're looking for support on your modular synthesis journey, your sound design journey, you can go to this URL, get yourself signed up for the waitlist, and that means you'll be notified. You'll be first in line when enrollment opens, and you'll also receive my live performance with Modular Synths training when you enroll from the waitlist. That's an extra bonus class that's exclusively for those people. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, the community just gets more vibrant with every single cohort that we run, which is why I love it so much. Anja, I want to just wrap up. I love to pass back to the guest to wrap up, and I'm curious if there's anything else you want to say. It could be maybe a little bit of wisdom or advice for someone who maybe is watching, whatever you think, whatever kind of comes up for you in this moment.
Okay. Advice or perhaps
anything. It doesn't have to be advice.
Anything. Yeah. What's
just any final thoughts?
If I'm very widespread and interested, but don't. I want to give one thing for the others, for the listener. Don't lose your focus, your intent, what you want. I'm playing around a lot. This imperfect action is completely my thing. I love every plugin, every synthesizer with a random button.
Yeah.
So press random, see what it gives, and then form it to something which fit in my actual project. I love this. This imperfect action is directed chaos is one of my most favorite methods I use since art school. But don't lose your focus for your intention. This so in my case, my intention is this dealing with those cinematic feelings, with evoking feelings, with telling stories, with sentiment, with questions, with uncanny feelings, with everything. And so if somebody has this in mind, the technical approach can be very easy. You can reach a lot with few things, but it's important to find out what's your main focus and think about this focus and deal with the focus and try to improve the approach to this intense, to this focus. Yes.
Yeah.
I think if this is clear, and focus can vary over the times, but
Yeah.
it should be a while on one or two spots and not to I'm doing this, that, those. No, the interest just explore this idea. So I
Okay.
explore my idea, and I want to invite everybody.
Yeah.
Take one, decide for one idea, and trust your decision, and then go to explore it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's very good advice. And it's interesting that, keep staying focused on your intention, it can coexist with pulling in all of these aspects of who you are. These two things can coexist. A lot of the time, I think people are like, okay, I need to focus, which means I need to block everything else out. I'm only choosing one part of me. They're separate things, right? You bring all of your aspects together. You let yourself be curious, let yourself be like, wow, what's that? I love this. And stay focused on your core intention. I think that that's really, really wise. Thank you for sharing that. I love it. It's so good.
Thank you for asking me.
Yeah. Okay. So, everyone who's been tuning in live, thank you so much for being here. If you're watching the replay, drop us any comments you have, any questions you have, and we'll keep an eye on them and do our best to respond. And if you have questions for me about learning sound and synthesis, if you want to talk to me about my class and just whether it's the right fit for you or anything like that, my DMs are open. So send me a DM. I'd always be happy to talk and answer any questions that you have. So I think that might be it for now. Anja, unless you have any final last words.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and thanks for this great LSS and Pledge to Polish. At the moment, I'm combining both. That's great fun. It's so much just inspiring
Good.
fun. Yeah.
Well, I can't wait to see everything else that you create in the future. And I'm really looking forward to just keeping my eyes and ears open for what comes next. So thank you so
Yeah.
much for being here. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next interview. Bye for now, everyone.